Alright, welcome friends. Here we are, closing in on Halifax. Sunset. Just gonna make it, I think, before it's all dark out. A little news to report, adventure-wise, on this flight. First of all, ATC is silent. It stopped working entirely. You can see it's hung up on telling us to descend to 28,000. We're at 14,500 feet right now. Bottom line, we were over Gander. I went outside just to take a screenshot, and when I came back into the cockpit, all the flight displays were purple. And there was a dude sitting right here. I know that sounds crazy. There was like a little co-pilot sitting right there, and hands were on this. I had no instruments, and it was a disaster. Now, it did not lock up. It did not lock up. But I had no instruments. So I minimized flight sim. I run to the boards. They're like, well, you can just wait. And we've seen this happen before. Just wait, and it'll clear itself out. I couldn't wait because I'd already begun my descent into Halifax. So anyway, I did something I've never done before, which is save the game and reload it in an effort to clear whatever issue was presenting itself. And that worked. We reloaded it, got back into the sim less than 2 minutes later, and the screens were not purple anymore, and the silly looking characters weren't in the cockpit anymore. Now, we lost stuff too. A lot of our settings were screwed up. We lost our timer right here, just reverted. Not a big deal because I did note our takeoff time was 1740 UTC, 540 Greenwich Mean Time, and now it's at 1040 Greenwich Mean Time. Although here in Halifax, it's 4 hours ahead of us. It's 3:40 here in Southern California, and so we are 4 hours 58 minutes into this flight across the Atlantic. We still have work to do. Kind of whenever I hear the landing gear alarm, I don't know. So it's acting a little weird, but it hasn't crashed, and we're still going to be, God willing, able to finish our flight. Whether anything else works is a separate question. ILS frequency for runway 23 via the Cabot 4 star is 109.9. So we'll enter that ILS frequency. Minimums 650 Vero. All right. We'll set our bearing 2 to nav 1 to see if we have any ILS data. We don't yet. Not surprising. Okay, we're making our right turn here at Bosib. I'm going to continue slowing. Holding steady at 10,000 feet. I'm going to increase, or rather descend down to 3,000 feet. I'm just managing this descent myself since ATC is not working. Super laggy too. It's not normally like this. I don't know if it has anything to do with the restart or what, but this could be an ugly, graphically ugly approach if I'm doing 6 frames per second. Wondering why we're not hearing our usual annoying landing gear alarm, which I know you're accustomed to. I don't know, it's funny, just yesterday had commented on how smooth our flight around the world had been. We're 30 miles out, we're at 10,000 feet. I'm going to increase that descent rate, 1,600 feet per minute, and continue slowing.
Landing.
There it is. I'm almost reassured hearing that. You can see here's our approach path. We're over here. We're going to go like that. Shallow out our descent rate because my ForeFlight app doesn't have us going over this way. It has us going straight to Laros. And thus, my ForeFlight app telling me that we're 28 miles out. We're actually slightly more. Nothing from ATC. Nothing. Let's try something. Well, forget it. Forget it. Oh, dear. Beautiful sunset, though, and I bet you $1 that's our airport. Yep. And IGX. That's interesting. I had written down the ILS identifier as IJG. Interesting. Let's check something. Let's set our heading. Sync it. Heading mode. Okay. Now we're going to activate this, switch this over to nav source to nav 1 and see if... Aha! Okay. That's a good sign. But where's our glide slope? Not surprising necessarily that we don't have a glide slope yet. Well, let's go ahead and pull the trigger. What do you say? Now the only issue is not having a glide slope, but it's turning left. We'll see how this goes. This could be ugly, but I'm just giving it my best shot here. Dealing with some curveballs that were thrown me by the sim. Yeah, it's way laggier than normal. There's the runway. That's encouraging. Let's get configured for landing. What the hell, huh? Depressurize while I'm thinking about it. 7,000 feet. That's fine. Slow down.
Landing gear. Landing gear.
We'll stop.
Landing gear.
We'll shut him up. I'm actually happy to hear him, though.
Gear.
Keep slowing. Not that this has any effect while we're off auto throttle. Use the speed brakes. Only question now is whether or will we get glide slope information. Lucky for us, the weather's perfect. So I mean, I can just fly the visual if I have to, which I'll happily do. Aha! We have the glide slope. Perfect. Activate APPR. All right. This worked. This actually ended up working, unbelievably. Shallow out the descent rate. Let's do a notch of flaps. Whew, man, I got my hands full. Okay, bring in the speed brakes, reactivate the auto throttle. Set 175. Okay. Actually looking fine right now, amazingly. Despite the sim's best efforts to fuck with us. You can see what I've done here is I did not fly this. I just turned left and straight to Laros. 180. Now just because we have the glide slope does not mean that we're going to intercept it. And we're not quite lined up, as you can see here. And this, it is very slightly drifting down, barely perceptible, but it is. And this line, the CDI, needs to move to the left a little bit. We're getting a 28 knot wind from the west-northwest. So that's slowing us a little bit, causing our plane to kind of weather vane slightly to the right, but that's not a problem. We're right on the glide slope, though. That's the good news. Showing us still 16 miles out, so we're going to keep our speed up for now. And you can see what I mean here. The green diamond gently drifting down. This white GS needs to turn green for us to be established on the localizer. I'm afraid to go outside because I'm afraid that we're going to come back and it's going to be purple screens, but I'm gonna need to eventually. That's kind of nice. Evening in Halifax. Oof! Very cool. Okay, hooray, our screens are still there. It should be grabbing the glide slope now. Basically, right now. Ah, man, did I call that? Did I call that? That was awesome. Okay, 12 miles. See the runway. I wish we had ATC to help us, but I don't know, maybe that was part of the screw up, or maybe reloading it or something. I don't know. I could cancel IFR and just get a VFR clearance, but screw it. I'm not gonna bother. We're still doing just fine and dandy on the glide slope. We can slow down to 170 now. Looking really good. Almost to Halifax. Despite the sim's best efforts to ruin it for us. Established on the localizer. 9.6 miles. All right, I'm going to roll the dice here and pray, cross my fingers, please don't come back to purple screens. Looks good. Now, gear, another notch of flaps. You see how the airplane is sort of weather vaning to the right? Because the winds are coming from this direction. See, that's kind of a cool way to demonstrate the effect of a crosswind. We're not pointed straight at the runway. And our screens are still here. Good news. All right, let's just slow down even more. Down to 150. And we'll go full flaps here in just a second. Zoom in on our MFD. Excuse me, 10,500 foot long runway. 7 miles out. Switch to approach speed. 140. And full flaps. Wait for that speed to stabilize. Winds are coming just like this, 25 knots right now. That might diminish a little. Seems like we're a little bit low. Disconnect the auto throttle. All right, we're gonna hand fly this baby all the way in. Just pop up on our seat just a bit. It's bringing us in a little low on the glide slope.
Autopilot.
I have the airplane. There we go. Here we got gear down, full flaps. Winds are down to 22 knots, but still gonna have a crosswind, potentially. Unless it diminishes more significantly. I'm using the CDI right here. I'll show you. Trying to keep this green line centered and keep this green diamond centered. Runway headings confirmed, 240 for runway 23. It's a little off because of that wind.
2 mile final runway 23.
CDI's pretty good. Altitude, glide slope indicators, pretty rock solid. Gotta trim it a little bit. There we go. No Vossies or Poppies to help us, unfortunately. Airspeed still 140. CDI looks great. Winds have gone down to 14 knots, and they're actually 13 knots now, and they're actually coming right at us, which I welcome with glee. Trim it, trim it. Okay, we're looking good.
500.
500.
Wind's now down to 9 knots. Dead at us. Works for me. CDI is perfect. We have runway clearly aligned. Altitude's perfect. That is a bright rabbit. Pretty butter. Frame rates, though, are really a problem. I don't know what that's all about. This is like watching a PowerPoint. Okay, well, we made it to Halifax. That's what counts. Without landing clearance, admittedly. My mouse picks the most inopportune moments to die. Wondering, we'll probably... Oh, here. Oh, there's no exit lights. How strange. It's like a haunted flight. All right. Well, let's see. Oh, there's our lights. Or there's our arrows now. Ground services. Go back to clearance. Taxiing to general aviation parking via taxiway A. All right. Okay. It looks like ATC started working again. All right, let's go ahead and zoom in on the MFD just so we can see our way around the airport a little bit better. This is where we exited. That's us. We'll go outside, see if this fucks up our screens. Airplane looks good. Oh, look! I can't zoom in on it. I don't know if you can see. It's like purple in the cockpit. That's the kind of the similar purple that I saw when it got fucked up. Anyway, spoilers, flaps. Good. Welcome to Canada. 7:55 p.m. Landed 5 minutes early. Let's see, is that right? 4:55, 5:55, 6:55. Yes, 7:55. I expected to land at 8, as I recall. Okay, anyway, wowzers. Landing lights are off, taxi lights on, pulse lights off. And let's roll on over to parking here in Halifax. Really a weird bug, one I've not encountered before. When when I went out, all I did was the apparently unforgivable crime of going outside and then come back inside and the screens are purple and there's these weird characters. It must have something to do with it getting sort of locked in the outside view and then coming into the cockpit as though it thinks it's still in the outside view. Because there's not normally a body here, a person sitting there. Only when it's viewed from the outside is there a person there. So I'm just speculating. Ramp 12, remember that. Ramp 12 for tomorrow or whenever we fly west. We're back on the North American continent, though, basically, in Nova Scotia. It's nice weather, as I mentioned, and as you saw. Real-time weather in Halifax is very nice. 50 degrees and clear. That's nice. 50 degrees and clear. Of course, it's the first day of spring, so that might be part of it. I don't really know what the weather's normally like in Halifax, but you know, I'm sure it's cold. Pretty far north. Okay, here's our parking space off to the left. Yeah, I don't know. There was some weird stuff going on in this flight, but I'm just glad it didn't CTD because I cannot tell you what it's like to be 4.5 hours into a flight and then have it crash to desktop. I mean, you just want to hang yourself. So at least that didn't happen. And I discovered this new feature of saving your flight. Now, I don't know that it's one that I would probably use with a lot of gusto because it screwed it up in other ways. It was kind of a pain in the neck, but not as much of a pain in the neck as it would have been if it had crashed to desktop. So try to be positive. We'll see if there's any audio to this video or if that caused some other problem as well. I don't know. I've been having some issues with Flight Sim this last couple of days. All right, come on. Hopefully we have flashlights, but we don't need them if we don't. Well, any flashlight love? There he is. Oof, kind of came in with a little too much mustard on that one. That's all right, though. We're good. We're safe. Parking brake. Oof, see what I mean? It's like kind of... Oh, on the restart, I never restarted our pitot heat. That got turned off, too, I just now realized. Wonderful. Well, anyway, there we are. Yeah, see that weird purple? That's not how it normally looks. Normally when you go outside, if you can see in the cockpit, you can actually see the blue, green colors of the PFD and the MFD. So I don't know what the heck's going on with this one. But I know we're safe in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, and I'm grateful for that, if nothing else. Now let's drop to the desktop. Let's see what the logbook screen says. Is it going to correctly reflect? Nope. Oh, we got fucked out of our 4.5 hours and 20 minutes. That's bullshit, dude. I mean, it has the departure correct. Wait, EIDW. Yeah, that's correct. And it has the arrival time correct. But 41 minutes and 52 seconds is only since the restart. I got screwed out of the rest of my time. That's bullshit. Well, anyway. At least we made it to Halifax in one piece. Thanks for watching.